Hey lads, welcome to the third iteration of Guamments podcast for season 5 of League of Lads. For those who don't know or have never watched any of the podcasts I put out every other season almost, the goal of the podcast pretty much is to get to know the teams, the players in the league, to know how they got into Comp Dota, how they think the league's going, just pretty much get the community together and everyone knows each other. So that's about it. I'll be doing a team or two every week, and I hope you enjoy the first episode.
I have a question, man. You said you had a few prepared, so go ahead.
I just started. Thanks for coming on to the podcast. We got Sasquatch, and how do you say your name? Henningman?
I usually just go by Mike.
Oh, okay, Mike. So we got you guys from Darkw. So, Mike. So tell us who you are. How'd you get into Dota? How'd you get into Comp Dota? And how'd you find the league?
Yeah, sure. Happy to do that. So I've been playing Dota for many years, more than 10 years at this point. I played Dota 1 back when I was a teenager, and then Dota 2 back in beta and all the way till now. And then I really started playing more Captain's Mode-like games with RD2L. I think I started that back towards the beginning of that league in season 7 was the first time. Had a really great time. Played mostly support then, and then was able to make it to playoffs with that team. So I really enjoyed that experience. The camaraderie, improving together, and then I kept signing up for RD2L every single season since. Always trying to get that win. Eventually, I realized it was too difficult to win as a support player since the average skill of the league is relatively low. So last season, in season 19, I finally swapped to playing mid and was able to actually win last season playing mid in RD2L. So that was really fun. And now I've been playing more variety of roles, not just support, but like every single role. Yeah. And the Sasquatch and I actually met in RD2L. We played it together one of the seasons, and then also in some mini seasons as well in RD2L.
Oh, very cool. How about you, Sasquatch? How'd you get into Dota and Comp Dota?
Well, I also started playing Warcraft 3 in my teen years, and so I played some Dota 1. I was mostly like a custom game player, but I did play some Dota 1, and then I took a brief break from Dota playing StarCraft 2. Actually played it professionally for a while.
What the? Pog.
Oh yeah, he has an esports page on the wiki and everything. You can look him up.
Did you win any tournaments?
I won small tournaments, but nothing like no majors. Probably my best result at like a big tournament was top 16.
Yeah, NA was probably trash back then, so.
Yep, it was pretty. And also
just like any esports in NA.
Yeah, Koreans were the best by far.
Yeah.
Wait, so in that top tournament you're mentioning, did you play against any Korean players?
I did. I beat some even, but like
wow.
ultimately lost to a Koreans. Or
I didn't know you were good enough to play against Koreans, man. That's great.
We got some of them at least.
Anyway, sorry to interrupt you. Keep going about the Dota.
Yeah, so StarCraft happened. Then I went back to school, stopped playing StarCraft, started playing Dota again, and have been playing since. Played RD2L. Then I started playing competitive when I got a little bit better. And I've just been playing competitive and RD2L pretty much since then.
Oh, wow. So how'd you guys find League of Legends?
So I'm pretty good friends with Skater and DOS. So obviously they won last season. I watched a bunch of their games. They streamed some of their games, and then also I know Flesh Canoe. He's really good friends with one of my real life friends, just like through RD2L as well. So I watch his stream sometimes. So I've seen a lot of League of Lads games over the past few months. That's why I was familiar with it.
I'm assuming it's the same way with you, Sasquatch?
Yep, just casually seeing RD2L people that I knew, or just various people that I knew playing in private lobbies, and you kind of investigate at that point because you're always curious what kind of stuff's going on.
True.
And I just heard about League of Lads. I think even like maybe like a couple seasons ago, my old competitive team played your lads team. That I think you had like little boy Noah on your team or something.
Last season.
So like I played that team, and then also recently I also played your. I don't know if it's your most recent team, but I did play a stack you were playing in some competitive like scrim that wasn't lads related, but
Maybe
I did recognize that you were playing with your lads team or whatever. So I was just thinking, you know, me and you won that recent game, yeah.
Please clap. Nice.
I wouldn't say you won many of the games before that.
Shit.
But it definitely, me and Mike just had a regular season of already told together, and I was just thinking what would be something fun to do, and so we thought let's put together a stack for lads and try to get in.
Yeah, my next question. How did you guys come up with this team? How did you make this team?
So I asked Mike because, I figured, like I'm not saying, like the lad skill level is what it is. And like Mike, I think fits well on a lad stack with like the MMR range. So I asked him, and like, he's also a good like organizer / competitive, like oriented person. So he just makes stacks work usually. So he was just the first person I asked. And then after that, the first thing I think we did was ask for, like who's the mid player we want, and then kind of built the team around that. Would you say that's right, Mike? So we found Dez, and then we found ET, and then we had some trouble finding a carry player.
Struggled from there,
yeah. That's pretty much that's where the started.
Yeah, I mean, I guess a bit of background too. Sasquatch and I did first meet RD2L, but we played in a lot of tournaments together over the years. We played in JDL together, Echo League together, a bunch of mini seasons together. So we've had some experiences sort of organizing teams as the two of us.
Okay.
So like we would be like the mastermind behind putting together a team, roping other players in. And we've had some success in those leagues in the past. So Sasquatch and I usually have like a good time when we try to play together, make a stack together. So that's why it's another reason why we're doing this together.
Okay, Pog. So you guys kind of answered my question. Like, have you guys watched League of Lads games before or seasons? So that one's pretty much answered. So we'll move past that. A lot of players and admins and captains thinks a lot of you players are sandbagged. What are your thoughts about that? You think you guys are sandbagged?
So it's kind of weird defending yourself.
Yeah.
But if I was to initially start with myself, I don't play ranked on my main account, and that can indicate one thing or another. Like it can either be you're inactive or you just don't play, and your MMR might not accurately reflect your skill level. That being said, I do have an active ladder account. I linked it to the admins. I'm not sure if it was you or Garda, but I can dig through the logs and find it. But that being said, like it's not like it's any higher than my main account, so I'll just leave it at that. And pretty much every player we asked, we kind of we had Dez, and I stand pretty strongly behind Dez being an acceptable lads player. I think a lot of people kind of freaked out at him, being on this roster in particular. But if you look at his MMR a year ago on RD12 mini sheets, it was always under 6,500. I think he was 6,400 on one sheet and 6,200 on another. For the last 2 months, he's been 6K, and he's also the most active ranked player, or he was the most active ranked player on our roster. So for him in particular, I really think it was clear he was not sandbagged, and his MMR accurately reflects the skill level. That being said, he has swung around in MMR range, so he has been above 6.5 in the past, but I think that was over a year ago at this point. So, when we got him, we were definitely just thinking he was a fair player under the MMR requirements. And then ET 6K flat, I don't think he's ever been higher than that. And then the carry player we initially asked for. There's basically each carry player we asked for was within the MMR requirements, and it's just a matter of if the other people on our team made it, our roster potentially sandbagged or not. You obviously have the admin perspective, that's this is just my perspective as a player. We were basically just asking friends who fit within the MMR requirement of the league to form a roster that we thought would make sense. So we were just cycling through people, and when they got declined, we would ask somebody else.
Yeah, I think it was really important for us to find people that we kind of played with in the past, and that's why we kind of put these people in front of the admins when we were trying to register a team.
Yeah.
In the end, unfortunately, a lot of those people didn't work out, so we had to go with Apex. Him, we don't really have experience playing with him, but we did speak to a bunch of people who have played with him, and he indicated that he's relatively PMA. And also, I've played against him in RD2L and in Mini many times in the past, so have experiences playing against him quite a bit. So we thought he might be a good fit as well. So that's why we ended up taking him.
So there was I don't know if you guys watched the other content show with the power rankings and stuff. Certain individuals on the show thought you guys were trying to rig the league. Would you agree with? I would assume you don't agree with that, but just your thoughts of how does that make you feel? Like coming in, do you feel like people are attacking you guys and whatnot?
I mean, to me, it feels like if we own at this point, we'll be called sandbagged or rigged, and then if we suck, it's just going to be like a little bit depressing because we didn't get the exact roster we wanted. But that being said, like we're just going to come in and do our best. And I don't think our roster on paper should be the best. Like, and also I don't have, we haven't played with this exact set of 5 players before, so there's a lot of stuff up in the air. Like you don't know exactly how it's going to fit and feel playing as these 5. So it's not like I have the extreme confidence in our roster to do well, but we're going to do our best. And like I think we're still definitely like a strong roster on paper on individual players. So
yeah. Coming into this, our intention was definitely just to make a stack that we've played with before and just have a fun time, and try to maybe improve a little bit playing competitive Dota because everyone kind of enjoys these Captain's Vault lobby games and everything. It's not our intention to like try to rig a season and win over everyone because it's not for money or anything. What's the point? Like, there's no point, doing that. So I don't know what the genesis of that idea came from, from a certain individual who was blaming us for rigging the integrity of the league or whatever. That's really not our intention. We're just trying to have a good time like everyone else.
Yeah, and I'll also say like, Dez was our mid player, and then when we couldn't find another like MMR like 6K-ish, mid, we just went with Mike because Mike like also plays mid and he's good for his MMR. And like I want to play support anyway because I'm playing support in my other competitive team, which wouldn't get approved for this league.
With Logical, right?
No, just like that stack's dead. Yeah, in my future team.
Okay.
I'm just switching to 5, so I just want to practice 5 in general, and like, I mean, like I don't think if you think we're trying to rig at this point when we have like a 5K mid who I'm not like saying is like we still think we're gonna win games. Like I'm not saying we're not confident, but like I don't know this. I would be very surprised at people who could think like these MMRs in these positions are like trying to orient a rig team.
So I don't know if you guys have seen the groups yet. I would assume you have.
I have. At least.
So what are your thoughts on your group? I don't know if you know anyone in each team.
Not every single team, but we know probably out of the teams some of the higher ranked ones, just because a lot of those teams have RD12 members in them, so we're familiar with them. But yeah, overall, hopefully it's a good time. I really wanted to be in the groups with Skater, just because like I'm friends with him. I love to play against him in one of the group games. So I'm really happy that we did end up in that group with them. And then the other thing is against Toilet Veld as well. As I mentioned, I watched like no stream a lot, so it'd be fun to play against them as well. And in terms of the groups, I think it seems like the MMR average of the 2 groups is fairly even.
Yeah, they're pretty much even. I think it's like 15 MMR difference.
Yeah. So I think, that seems pretty balanced. So it looks like the group drafting system, at least on paper, worked out in a nice way.
Who do you think is the scariest team in your group? Oh, actually, overall, who do you think? Actually, we'll go by your group first. Who do you think is scariest in your group?
Okay. Sasquatch, have you seen the group yet?
Smiley face. Can somebody
Yeah.
send me a link?
So our group, I feel like it's probably either gonna be your team, the Pretenders, since the
Oh, if you're in our group, your team's good. I'm sure.
Rice
'cause-
Boy
Yeah.
seemed like a pretty good, 1-2
Yeah,
combo.
with Race Boy double. Team.
And then maybe
I was looking at that KTA's guy's Dota buff. I don't actually know him, but his Dota buff looked
I
pretty
didn't know
good.
him either, but he seems pretty chill. He's a chill guy.
Like just the heroes he was playing looked good for 4 position. Like most played IO and like Wyvern and stuff looked good. Shaker.
Yeah. So yeah, your team looks pretty good. So it should be a fun game to play against you guys eventually. And then I think Skater's team and Toilet Bell both look pretty good. So
yeah, Toilet
they
looking
should
really good.
hopefully do well as well in the groups, for our group at least.
Who do you think overall in the tournament is the scariest? Who would you be most afraid of to play in playoffs?
One team that looks pretty good is with like the Fume and Silverpike team.
Is that who is that?
Nebula, I think.
Nebula.
Yeah. They look pretty good. I think they should be a pretty scary opponent, at least on paper.
Yeah.
I played against all of those people before in RD2L, and they're all pretty good for their respective positions. So that should be interesting. What about you, Sasquatch? What do you think about?
So the teams I know, I only recognize like 3 or 4 players at most, so I don't have extreme confidence in them. But that being like in terms of weighing their skills, but like the Ultra Gunner Garda team, I thought looked pretty good. I know DOS and Notorious won last season, right? So
Yeah.
that stack I'm sure can be pretty good again. I think Brightside is a good support player, and I think Sev is a good mid. I don't know their carry player very well, but yeah, I think that team's pretty good. Those are the teams I recognize for the most part. Obviously, I mentioned your team already.
Yeah. So
after that, I stopped. I was just gonna say after that, I don't really know as many of the gamers.
Hopefully this season you start learning everyone's smile.
Yeah. Oh, one thing I would note is I've never lost the Ultra Gunner before. I used to call him Ultra Gunner. So there's that. Hopefully I can keep that up.
Wait, is he in our group?
I don't
think he is.
So. I think he's in the other group.
So have you guys as a team scrimmed together yet?
No, we actually have a scrim later tonight. That's our first one.
Oh, Pog.
So we will be scrimming.
Are you scrimming anyone from Lads?
Yeah, it's a Brody team.
Oh, you're scrimming Brody's scrim. Oh, at 10.
Yeah, they were looking for a scrim, so I just answered.
Let's see how that goes. That will be interesting because I don't know. I guess it's kind of toxic, but they're kind of on the low end. Everyone thinks they're going to be the worst.
Based on the power rankings.
It will be interesting to see how you guys do, if you guys either stomp them or whatnot.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, granted, this will be our first game together ever, so we'll probably have some kinks to work out. But hopefully, we can still put up a good show against that team.
So, I have 2 more questions. They're kind of a staple, and they won't be that great since you guys are pretty brand new and the season technically hasn't started yet. But what I usually ask, what would you like to see next season, and what did you like most about this season so far? But so it's the kind of can't really answer it too well, but
yeah,
anything.
So what to say about next season? Well, it seems like some teams didn't make it into the actual league, which is just kind of unfortunate. I feel like if people want to show up and play, as long as they're not outright cheating, they should be allowed to. So maybe admin team can find a more inclusive format where more teams can be included or whatever. I mean, obviously that could be more work for everyone, but that could be an improvement, just to be a little more inclusive, especially as long as they're not outright cheating. Then obviously you should not include them. Yeah, Sasquatch, any thoughts?
Yeah, I kind of agree with the SSD. I have a friend SSD who really wanted to play. He was pretty down about that. So SSD Cuzzy 659.
Oh yeah, they got the straw end of the poll since we didn't really know any of them, and 3 of the teams were just outright denied. But yeah, you just got unfortunate events.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
sorry, were you saying something?
No, I mean I'm happy we made it through the bracket of getting accepted.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the rigorous qualifications to get in.
it was. I didn't think we were gonna make it for a bit, but we pulled through.
Yeah, I actually, just out of curiosity, since we have you on voice call here, what is sort of the reasoning behind not including some of the teams? I mean, obviously changing the format a little bit to include 3-4 more teams, probably not too complicated for you guys. So what was the thinking around that?
So the beginning of the season, but when I announced season 5, it was supposed to be 16 teams. We got 24 teams signed up. So we're like, all right, we thought it's a pretty good even number, so we might be able to take them all. But 2 teams were straight outright denied because they were over the limit, and they just had ranked 7 kids on the roster that we have no clue who they are and probably would dominate the league. So that's 2 out. And one team that admins argued about, I don't know if you saw General the other day. So there's an argument about that. So that was 3 teams down. So we had to go down to sorry, drawing a blank. So it's down to 21 teams. So we had to pick one team, and we went through each list and saying, well, who do we know on this team? Is this team any vouched players? Any vouched captains say this team okay? And that's how we kind of decide on
okay, I see.
Who the last team will have to be denied. And
Got
unfortunately,
it.
it was
Okay, so really it was just one team.
Yeah, it was literally, pretty much it was just one team that got cut because the other 3 were just pretty much
bad submissions.
Broken the rules. Yeah.
Okay, understood.
So so it was just unfortunate that they got denied.
Got it. That makes sense. Okay.
So my last question is, who and what questions would you like to see on the next podcast?
Well, for me, I feel like you guys should, you should definitely speak to the previous season's champions. They probably deserve an interview. I know there was quite a bit of drama and stress with them staying together. Based on what I talked to Dawson Skater about. So that should be an interesting topic of discussion for this setting. So yeah, I think you should talk to them.
How about you, Sasquatch?
Should have on Smack and ask him why he's so afraid of playing me.
Okay. I'll gladly do that.
Oh yeah, I the other thing, as in Smack's team should be fun to play against too, since we know
almost all their players.
Yeah. And I've been stacking with Sev quite a few times recently too, and he's a great fun guy. So that'd be a fun game to play against too. Although I think they're also not in our group, unfortunately. Yeah, they're not.
Let's see. Yeah, I don't think they're. Yeah, no.
It's okay. We'll maybe see them in playoffs.
See them in playoffs, maybe. Yeah. So that's about it. Thanks for joining me and being good guests. And the first time, I hope you guys enjoy the season. So, hope to see you back next season too, if you enjoy it enough.
Yeah.
I think that's the plan. Is if we can make it through and have a good season here. So yeah, thank you.
Any closing thoughts?
Well, thanks for doing this interview, and I appreciate that the admin team and a lot of people contribute to content. That's a really important part of a league like this, from my experience. So. I'm really happy to see that in League of Lads so far.
Thank you.
Thank you to the people who voiced support to get our team in.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for joining me, and see you guys next time.
Okay.